Darkest greetings and happy Super Bowl Sunday, horror, sci-fi, and sports fans. Drew here from Horror, Sci-Fi, and Beyond with a special edition of Ramble On. I thought it'd be real fun, for a bunch of nerds to be counting down our top five sports movies in honor of Super Bowl Sunday. Um, I know Eric, you're not really big into sports, are you?
No, I'm not super huge sports fan, and so like when you asked if we do this, I was looking through the movies that I thought I liked as sports movies. I was like, these are all so uninspired. I don't know. I wasn't inspired by it, so I decided to throw a little curveball to it.
Yeah.
But I like sports. I like watching
Mm.
sports. I like sports movies when I was a kid. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of sports movies
I
nowadays,
will
I guess.
say, Drew, you sort of differentiated between nerds and sports fans, but I will
No.
contend that sports is one of the nerdiest things you can be
Yes, it
into
can be.
That's true.
It can be.
because it's all like, oh, what's their earned run average? Oh no, is it below three? It's just like it's a whole bunch of numbers and it's a whole bunch of like fantasy sports is just D&D
Right.
Hmm.
for people with no imagination.
Yeah. Well, here's the
That's
thing.
not true. A lot of people with imagination play fantasy sports. I play
Yeah.
fantasy sports.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you
Lots of my
guys
friends
watched
do.
our
So.
last Ramble on, you knew that me and Jackson are a bit of odds right now because I'm going for the Philadelphia Eagles and you're going for the Chiefs. That's your team.
Okay, well, okay.
Is that
Let's
the World Series is coming up?
It's
yes,
a
it's the
Super
World
Bowl.
Series.
Okay,
The
good.
Super
That's
Bowl,
good.
you
That's
idiot.
that's good.
The World Series
Huh.
Cup of
The World
Stanley.
Saying yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, okay, here's the thing about the Super Bowl this year and the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, I do really like the Kansas City Chiefs. I have a Patrick Mahomes jersey that a friend gave me. I didn't buy it.
Hmm.
Um, I love the Chiefs, but that's because I lived in Kansas City for a couple years
Hmm.
and I just really grew to love the town. The Chiefs were not the Chiefs when I lived there. The Royals had just won the World Series. So they were celebrating over that.
Mm.
And then I just really just grew to love the city. And so I sort of adopted the Chiefs because I'm
Mm.
from Alabama. There's nobody cares about pro football in Alabama.
Yeah, you're
That's
about the
yeah.
Crimson
Some
Tide.
people like the Falcons. There's a people like the Cowboys, the
Mm.
Titans, that sort of thing. But there's
Hmm.
no team that's connected to here. So I just sort of adopted the Chiefs as my default team, and then they got good.
Hmm.
Right.
That's not my fault. I will say, when it came to the Super Bowl this year, I was really hoping the Buffalo Bills would get in finally. Even
Hmm.
though it would have, eliminated the Chiefs, I was really pulling for the Bills because I just, we'll talk about that later. That will come up later in this episode. So,
Okay.
Sweet man.
mm,
I'm all about the Eagles. Well, originally, way back in the day, I was an early fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars because that's my hometown. I wasn't. Well, I think I would. They came out the year before I was born, but I was like, oh, a pretty early on fan, and I went to a couple
yeah.
games when I was a really tiny baby, and my mom got one of my first football jersey hung up, and then
Hmm.
became a Colts fan because of Peyton Manning, and I followed him over to Denver Broncos, and then he retired, and so I went a whole season without a team. Then I'm like, think I'm gonna become an Eagles fan because that's
Hmm.
where my favorite movie character Rocky is from.
So that's
And
Hmm.
why you're an Eagles fan?
yeah,
Huh.
that's why
You
I'm an
have
Eagles.
no actual connection to
No,
Philadelphia.
I've never been to
Oh
Philadelphia.
my God. I have more of a connection to Philadelphia than you do.
Yeah, exactly.
My grandfather's family is all from Philadelphia.
Well, also that, and then one of my favorite
I
movies.
should be an Eagles fan.
Yeah. Well, another one of my favorite movies of all time is Silver Linings Playbook, and
Hmm.
that's
Yeah, that's a
revolved
good
around
one.
the Eagles, and I love that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna become an Eagles fan for the rest of my
You're just
life.
gonna take them as your team. I respect that.
Yeah.
It's similar to
Okay.
me in Kansas City. I just like I like this city, so I'm gonna root for their team now.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, since me and Jackson are at our butting heads right now for the Super Bowl, I'll let you go first. What is your number five favorite sports movie of
Wow, we're
all
just
time?
jumping right into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go. We're actually recording back-to-back episodes today. We're doing the Midnight Special review right after this. We posted on Wednesday.
All right, Eric. What's your
Oh
number
wait,
five
I'm going
sports
first.
movie?
Wait, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
going
going
first.
first.
How
Oh
about
shoot.
Eric?
Sorry.
I want you
You've
to
been
go first,
talking a
Jack.
lot. You haven't
I thought
talked.
you were talking about. Oh, I thought Patricia was going. Sorry.
Okay.
So like most of my I was looking at it before we got on here. We're talking about it. And most of my picks were kind of uninspired, or like I was just like I don't even know if I really like that movie anymore. I don't. I've been so long since I watched it, so I decided just to go completely out of the box and just pick uh either sci-fi or horror or beyond movies that had sports in them, and they had to be I had stipulations for it. It couldn't be just like Harry Potter because there's just one scene where they play Quidditch, or
Yeah.
like there's that one scene in Starship Troopers where they play this weird
Or
football
Top
game. It
Gun.
had to be based on, it was based in the sport.
Yeah. You
And
couldn't
so
go Top Gun.
couldn't go Top Gun. That doesn't count. They
Yeah.
have a sports scene in it, but that's also not horror sci-fi, so
Yeah.
that would have been separate from that. But my number five is Space Jam, which was a
Yeah.
classic when I was a kid. I would
Everybody
say
get up.
oh,
It's time to slam now.
I had the soundtrack when I was a kid. I
I've
Dude, I
listened
had
to
that
the
shit
soundtrack
too.
like
way more than I've watched the
1995.
movie.
Yeah, no, I listened to the soundtrack
Soundtrack
quite a bit.
slaps.
Dude,
It does.
that's honestly in my top three favorite soundtracks of all time. Like Zodiac, Pulp Fiction, and Space Jam.
Yeah.
Pretty eclectic.
That's weird. Yeah, okay. What a crazy top three soundtrack. I don't know if it's my top five soundtracks, but I do love that. Think that soundtrack's really great. But the movie's a lot of fun. It's not quite classic material. It's not Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, I gotta say, Seal's version of Fly Like the Eagle is my I like it more than the Steve Miller version. And I've been
And we're
listening.
back on the soundtrack.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to that
2
version.
episodes in one night, and we're back on the soundtrack.
I've been listening to that
Yeah.
song like almost every morning the last like few weeks.
I think it's
Seal
better
version?
than the Steve Miller version. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
agreed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Well, and then I
Seal
like-
is way better than Steve Miller.
yeah, well, and then I like how he does the line from his song "Crazy" in a world full of people on his song "Wanna Fly." Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? Like in the middle of the song, I think that's pretty cool.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Well, it's an okay movie.
It's a
It's
good
a
movie.
fairly
It's a good
good
childhood
movie.
classic movie.
It's a good
that you
movie.
can
Here's the
like,
thing.
hold
I don't
it.
even think
to.
it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad movie, but it's like a fun bad movie. Like you're
Yeah.
not going to be mad when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
that's the thing about it is,
except for people that don't like Lola Bunny, I kind of
Yeah.
understand that.
That's-
No, I
that's
like
fair.
Lola Bunny.
That's a
in Lo-
fair controversy.
I like Lola Bunny in that Looney Tunes show that they did like 10 years ago when Kristen Wiig voiced her.
Don't
And
even
I
know.
thought
what
it
that
was
Okay,
is.
see, I've never seen that, but
Yeah.
the characterization of Lola Bunny in Space
In the
Jam
Space
is,
Jam movie
is pretty
oof.
icky.
Yeah.
She's not a
Yeah.
real character.
Dude, my favorite nostalgia critic bit is when he reviews Space Jam and he makes fun of the fact that they sexualize an animal character. And he's like,
Pretty weird.
I can't believe I gotta say this, but we don't want to fuck bunnies. Okay, maybe a small majority want to fuck bunny, but I'm a human. I want to fuck other humans. We don't want to fuck bunnies. And he cuts to like Playboy bunnies in their bunny outfits, and he's like, that's not the same.
I will say this is the first Space Jam is head and shoulders above the sequel remake reboot they did with
didn't
LeBron
see it.
James. Oh, it's not good. Don't watch
Yeah.
it.
I
It's
like
just
it.
like
I
Warner
like
Brothers
it.
like IP, but not. I don't know. I didn't care.
Seemed
for that
like
one, but
like a low rent Ready Player One,
Yeah,
it was. It very much.
I
was.
like it
Very
better
much
better
was.
than Ready Player One.
and I don't even really like Ready Player One very much.
Yeah, I liked it better than that movie. But I will say, even though I'm a bigger MJ fan. I'm not that big of a LeBron fan. LeBron looked like he wanted to be there. Like he
No,
was
it's
having
true.
fun. He was having fun in like the
LeBron,
Matrix and
yeah.
Well, when
Superman
you
and
and I don't mean to just
Casablanca.
draw out the Space Jam conversation
Mm,
too long, but when you listen to Michael Jordan and like talk about that movie, it sounds awful. Like he was
Hmm.
just on a green screen by himself
For
for
big
like
chunks of it.
years.
Yeah.
And
You're
he
acting
had
with tennis balls.
and he did not and he wasn't an actor. And
Mm-mm.
even like real actors, quote unquote, like they hate doing that.
mm.
Oh
Imagine
yeah.
being somebody that's not even an actor. It's like I've got better things to do. I got to work on my baseball career, y'all.
Hmm. Yeah, right. Now imagine this 4 foot tall bunny is kissing you now.
Right.
Really getting to the
Yeah.
headspace there,
Poor
Mike.
Michael
Yeah, but I'm a
Jordan.
baseball player now, and
It's a
I'm a
miracle that movie
16
works even a
tall.
little bit.
Right,
Well,
right.
Jackson, I talked over you.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah,
Space Jam. That's my number five.
yeah.
Okay.
What's your number five, Jackson?
So I'm gonna take a real hard pivot from Space Jam. And Drew, this I think this might be on your list too, but it's the Iron Claw.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
my number five too.
Okay, well we can both talk about it then.
Yeah.
The Iron Claw, I saw it Christmas Day,
Mm.
2023. It was the second to last movie I saw that day, and so I grew up. I wasn't allowed to watch pro wrestling when I was a kid.
Mm.
Uh, when I was in high school, finally my parents kind of relented and they were like, ah, whatever, you can watch pro wrestling. So I got really into it for a couple years and
Hmm.
then it just sort of fell by the wayside. And it's still something I have a lot of nostalgia for, as much as I have nostalgia. Um, but what compels me about professional wrestling is that it's the sport that's not a sport.
Mm,
Mm.
Like the
Hmm.
the the outcomes are predetermined, but there's nothing fake about it. And that's partly what the movie is about. The movie's
yeah.
about so much more than that.
Hmm.
Um, but it's just the most heartbreaking, raw picture of a family in Texas.
Mm,
And then on top of it, you have this very compelling sports drama that's real,
mm,
like that's the best sports stories are all true sports stories because you
right.
can't
Hmm.
you can't fake that. Like
Mm,
you can make up a great story in a lot of genres, but sports, like when you get to the real stuff, man.
yeah.
Drew, you go ahead and talk about it for a little bit while I collect my thoughts because this movie like really gets
Okay. Um, just to let you guys know, I'm about to spoil this movie. So if you have not seen the Iron Claw, just skip over this part because I don't want to talk about the full what this movie means to me in its full context.
Hmm.
Um, it's about this wrestling family not named the Von Erich, and they're accused in Texas in the 70s and 80s.
Hmm.
And I won't get into all the details, but basically all the Von Erich brothers die tragically.
except one.
Yeah, leaving Zac Efron's character.
Yeah.
And he's in the yard, his kids are playing with his wife, and he's just sitting there crying because he just misses his brother. And his sons come up to him and he says, "Why are you crying, Dad?" And he says, I like my brothers." And then one of his sons say, "I'll be your brother, and it's all right to cry. We cry all the time too." Kind of getting past, that whole toxic masculinity thing. You can't cry or show emotion other than anger or toughness.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
it does no, and then it
go
does
ahead.
that helicopter crane shot over the backyard as he's playing with his kids. And then that song, "Wanna Love That Way Forever" by Little Scream. And it's like a just triumph, like big, like epic, like guitar ballad song. And man, I needed that like that day because I was having a rough day that day, and people were pissing me off really bad.
Yeah.
Um, because I was picking up lunch for my family before I went to the movie, and people were just being real slow or like, cutting me off or just pissing me off, and the theater was
Yeah.
packed because of that freaking damn troll movie. Um, so I was cutting in front of people. People were bumping into me. I was just pissed off. So that I just needed that. I needed that movie.
Mm.
And I was telling you, Jackson, that I'm about to watch this real fucked up wrestling movie on a day where people are just pissing me off. And then you say something along the line of, "Don't let the Iron Claw pressure you," or "Don't feel the pressure of the Iron Claw."
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I just want to say thank you for sending me that text because after hearing that song and seeing that movie, like it really meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you're one of my best friends, Jackson, because you know how to pick people up.
I can when I want to. I
Yeah,
don't always want to.
yeah. Sometimes you're a fucking asshole.
Yes, this is true.
So am I too. So am I. That's why we click so well.
Eric, have you seen this movie?
I have not.
Oh fuck me!
Spoilers.
I just spoiled it for you.
I
That's
do. I
okay.
know what
It's
happens.
like,
I know what happens.
Okay.
I know what
yeah,
happens.
it's a
It
true
was been on my
story.
list since
Like,
last year. Yeah,
it's a
it's been
true
on my list since
story.
last year, and I just haven't had the time to sit down and
Yeah.
new
What
movies
I will
come
say
every
about this
year.
movie,
Yeah,
like, well, I just lost what I was about to say. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
All right, ready to
Anyway,
move on? Or do you have any?
yeah, I mean, we can't spend too much time on any
Yeah.
one of these movies. I could talk a whole bunch about the Iron Claw.
Yeah, Iron Claw
Hmm.
is amazing.
So, anyway, that's both our fives. So I guess we're
Yeah.
back around to Eric.
Yep. What's your number four?
uh, well, my number four is probably not on either of y'all's lists either. But did y'all ever see the Norman Jewison rollerball from like the 70s?
I
No.
never have. No.
Um, it's kind of amazing in a lot of ways. Don't watch the 2002, the John McTiernan one with LL Cool J. It's trash.
Oh,
It's
that was
hot
a
garbage.
remake?
Yeah, it's a remake.
Yeah.
So
I
the
did not
one in
know
the
that.
70s was directed by Norman Jewison. It stars James Caan. Um, it's low key kind of
Sidebar, real quick.
okay.
John McTiernan has remade two Norman Jewison movies.
What was the other one?
The Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh,
Oh
that
no.
was
John
John
McTiernan,
McTiernan?
director of Die Hard, remade two Norman Jewison
I did not
movies.
know that.
Anyway, continue. That's just so weird.
It
Yeah,
is.
cool.
Like, what do you have
Maybe he
against
just
Norman
really
Jewison?
Mm-mm-mm. But so Rollerball is this weird sort of media satire slash like psychological thriller. It's a lot of things happening all at once. It's not a perfect movie. It's super dated, like very dated, like very 70s.
Yeah.
Um, just in their costumes and everything. And I never quite understand how the game works. Like none of that ever
I don't think anybody
works.
does. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've listened to podcasts and people talk about it, and
and they try to
nobody
explain
knows.
it.
It's like True American from New Girl,
Yes, yes,
like
yes,
this
yes.
game that
Or
nobody.
Liar Dice from
Yeah,
Tires
right.
2.
Liar's
Right.
Dice.
Yeah, I can never
I've
figure out
played a
Liar's
version
Dice.
of that, but it was with dollar bills, and so it actually does make sense, but it's still very
Mm,
confusing.
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So the movie is super confusing. It's very dated, but it's like kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways, just in the sense of just sort of this like media satire of like hyper violent sports that are happening on
Yeah.
television, and just I don't know, it's pretty great. I would say if you haven't seen it, you should take the time and
So
spend like 2 hours and watch something that's pretty cool from
Yeah.
the 70s that a lot of people have overlooked.
So it's
Mainly
kind of like
because
Running
that
Man,
other one came
sounds
out.
like.
What now?
It's
It's
kind of
like
like
what?
Running Man. It's kind of like Running
Yeah,
Man.
Running Man was my other one that was going to fill this slot. And in honesty,
No,
The Running
I
Man
think
is
that counts.
fun, but it's stupid. It's the stupidest movie. It's
Well,
just
we get a
American
remake coming
Gladiators.
out this year with Edgar Wright
Edgar
and
Wright, which could be
Glenn
great.
Powell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, at the
So I'm
Arnold
excited for
Schwarzenegger
that.
character?
Yeah, Glenn
Yeah, I think
Powell's playing
so.
the
Oh my
Schwarzenegger.
God, I'm
Hmm.
definitely excited for that now. If I wasn't
Yeah.
before. That's fucking awesome.
So yeah, Rollerball.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, Running Man.
Honestly, I think Glenn Powell is on the fast track of being the next Tom Cruise. Cause he has the
Except
smile, he has the charisma.
except nothing quite works the same way. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
he's clearly trying to go on that track,
Mm,
but it never quite works out. Like you have a movie like Hitman, which really
Mm-hmm.
showcases his skill as an actor
mm.
and his charisma and everything. And Netflix just was like, nah, we're just gonna put it on
Meh.
streaming where nobody will ever care about it again.
Yep.
But
That's fine.
Twisters, that was a big hit,
Yeah.
but
Twisters was a
not
big hit.
because of him.
But he was also what was the Sydney Sweeney movie that came out like December last year?
Oh, anyone but you. Yeah,
Anyone
that's
but
true.
you.
That was
He's
pretty
had a
fantastic.
couple
Mm,
like
Yeah.
minor like on the cusp ones, but
Like I'm just hope maybe the Running Man is it. Maybe that is
yeah.
maybe.
the Glenn Powell vehicle that finally makes him a bona fide movie star
Mm,
because
Hmm.
he's got all the ingredients.
mm.
It's
Just
just they
looking for
haven't
that
got the
right
recipe
project.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's why he was like the perfect like Maverick surrogate in Top Gun Maverick. Because like
Mm.
he kind of looks like Tom Cruise, like a young Tom Cruise a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems more authentic, I will say. He does seem a little more authentic than Cruise.
He's not got the same energy as Tom Cruise at all.
No.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's young. He'll get there.
He's got well, but no, he's got that sort of laid back, cool
Hmm.
Texas thing going on,
Hmm.
whereas
He's
Tom
got that
Cruise is just a
McConaughey.
live
Yeah.
wire that's just, you
Okay,
know,
so I think if McConaughey and Cruise like had a love child
Uh-huh.
sure,
together.
that's Glenn Powell.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's Glenn Powell. Yep.
What's your number four, Jackson Harbor?
Number four for me is Chariots of Fire.
Mm.
Ooh, okay, I've never seen
Was
that, but I've heard it's
I
good.
believe 1981
Hmm.
Best Picture.
Hmm.
Um, have y'all seen this movie?
I
I've never
have.
seen it.
Okay. It's kind of forgotten these days.
Hmm.
Because it's not like a big flashy thing. I mean, it's a big movie.
Hmm.
It's got a scale and a scope to it. It's got all these scenes that are filmed in like Oxford and everybody's very proper and British, and then they go to the Olympics and everything's and it's got this Vangelis score that just
Hmm.
soars. Everybody
Hmm.
knows the
Everyone
score.
knows the
Bum
score.
bum
Yeah.
Well,
bum
everybody
bum
knows that one
bum
piece from the
bum
score.
bum bum
The rest
bum
of the
bum
score is pretty good,
bum.
but there's nothing quite as iconic as that. But a lot of people don't know that at its core, it's this very like intimate movie about faith
Hmm.
and politics and
Mm,
desire and ambition and people's different motivations for doing the sport that they're doing. Like, so
right.
you have Eric Liddell, who is this Scottish preacher who's going to be a missionary in China, but he's the fastest man in Britain
Hmm.
and they send him off to the Olympics. And there's this other guy named Harold Abrahams, who's a Jewish guy who's studying at Oxford, and he's also one of the fastest men in Britain. And he feels very sort of put upon because he's Jewish in this sort of Christian society,
Mm,
and Liddell is this very Christian person, but he's not motivated by glory. He just wants to serve God, and he feels like running is the best way to do it. It's a lot of people might find this movie kind of stodgy, and it is,
Hmm.
but when you really dig into the themes and the performances and everything that's going on, like there's a lot going on in the movie. It's very impressive.
mm.
It's a very impressive movie. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't know.
I'm
I
gonna have to
really
check that
like it.
out.
It's
Yeah.
one that I saw when I was a kid, and even when I
Hmm.
was a kid, I was pretty riveted by it.
Mm.
And I don't
Hmm.
even know why, but yeah. Anyway, Eric, do you have any thoughts on it? You're the only other one.
Uh, it has been a long time since I've seen it, but I had similar thoughts when I watched it. When I watched it the first time, when I watched the first time as a kid, I'd only watched it because I knew the running scene with the Vangelis music and everything.
Right.
And so after that,
And
I
that's
wasn't
the
prepared for what I
opening of the
was.
movie,
Yeah, and I
basically. Yeah.
wasn't prepared for what was coming afterwards, and so I was just like, "Oh, this is boring." But I was also like 8, so I wasn't
Right.
ready to like watch that type of movie. Um, But yeah, no, it's such a more thoughtful movie than like any of the sort of imitations or like spoofs of it have given it credit for over the years.
Mm.
It's kind of gotten drowned just in like the culture around it, or not even the culture around it, but just the like the pop culture influence that it has on it. Like no one even talks about the movie itself, much less really just like that score and that running
Yeah.
scene like has been just parodied
Right.
so many times that it becomes almost a parody itself. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Um, but I don't know. I it's pretty good. I haven't watched it in a long while though, so I haven't
I
watched it
will
in probably
say it
like
has
10 years.
one of the most beautiful lines of dialogue I've ever heard in a movie.
Mm,
Maybe the best line. And, some people might sort of roll their eyes at this line, but I think it's beautiful. And that's Eric Liddell. He's talking to his sister about going to the Olympics, and she's like, "No,
mm-hmm.
you're supposed to go and be a missionary in China. That's what God wants you to do." And he says, "I know God gave me a purpose for China, but He also made me fast. And when I run, I feel His pleasure. It's so good. When I run, I feel His pleasure. Like, God, that's so good." Anyway,
Awesome. Yeah, that seems kind of I think it's interesting because and yeah, I want to check it out. Yeah, you
You
sold
should
me on
watch it.
that, man. I want
I
to
need to
yeah.
rewatch
prioritize
it.
it.
It's been a long
It's
while.
good.
Yeah.
It's just like a very like sort of stodgy British character drama, but with really like cool like racing scenes and training
Yeah,
scenes, and good music and everything. Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. That made me think of this that kind of whole culture around like Christianity, where like there's some people that think, oh, you can only serve God in this one way,
Hmm.
but then there's other people that say, oh, well, there's many different ways you can serve God.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
doing what I'm good at and
Mm.
doing it to the best of my ability is a way of honoring God
Yeah.
Hmm.
or honoring humanity, the higher
Mm.
power, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like doing this thing as long as it's not something that is hurting someone, like I'm good
Hmm.
at killing people. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
But
But
doing this beautiful thing like running a race, like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. So my number four is appropriate for the team I'm rooting for today. It's gonna be Invincible. Hey, my name is Vince Polly, and I want to be a Philadelphia Eagle. Mark and Mark and the Funky Bunch. That's a good band. But no, I'm not saying this is his best movie, but this gotta be my favorite Wahlberg movie.
Mm.
I think I
Okay.
just love this movie. I just love the whole like Rocky. I just love this whole, this guy, from the neighborhood who
Hmm.
makes
Against
it,
the
and
odds.
you
Yeah.
get the whole,
Yeah.
not the whole town, but a lot of people, because there's some characters that they don't really believe in him, but
Hmm.
some characters like really believe in him. Like Elizabeth Banks believes in him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
His father believed in him, and I don't know, man. You just got this city, this this working class city, this iconic city that's going through a lot of like economic woes,
Hmm.
and their team sucks at this point in time, and they just want to see their team do good for once. And it just so happens that Coach Bamil is doing walk-ons, and one of the people is a Philly native.
Greg Kinnear is the coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
love him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's kind of a beautiful story. It's just so,
Yeah.
Hmm.
like a team, like a sports team can mean so much to the city. Um,
Hmm.
even though
Yeah.
even though a lot of the fans are pieces of shit, and they kind of joke
Yeah.
about that, in this movie where the coach's wife is like, why you look so worried? It's just a sports team, and then the coach goes, yeah, this is the same like fan base that threw snowballs at Santa Claus, which really happened.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like I
It's a
can't
kind
remember.
of.
Philly sports, man.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened that caused that, but yeah, Santa Claus got it bad.
Mm.
I
Poor
will say,
Santa.
if you like this movie, don't look up the real guy.
Yeah, he's not great.
Oh, in real life, the coach?
No, the real, like the
Uh,
guy that Mark Wahlberg plays.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
is he a bad guy?
He's not like a bad guy. He's just kind of shitty a little bit.
yeah.
Really?
Just a little bit. Not
He's
like
like a little
not
bit
like the
shitty.
PG hero in this movie. Like,
Interesting.
I haven't seen this movie in a very long time. I was wondering how well it held up because y'all were talking about it the other day. I saw this in theaters and like, well, I wouldn't come out '06. Yeah,
Something like,
I
yeah,
probably
somewhere in
haven't seen it since then. I remember a time going like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's fun. It was a nice time, but
there. Yeah.
I have not watched it since. Maybe I need to pick it back up.
At the end of this episode, we should do some honorable mentions where we just talk about like some pretty good movies.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
briefly, like, we don't have to spend too much time.
Sure,
Right.
sure,
I've
sure.
got a
No,
couple of those though
I
that I'm
made
just like,
I
I
made a real
love this,
list.
but it's just pretty
Right.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
No, I'd made a real list too. So of mine that I was just gonna rattle off at the end as well.
Yeah. What's your number three? No, one more thing I just want to say. This didn't happen in real life, but I love the fact that Elizabeth Banks' character is a giant fan, and that's a big point of conflict between him and her and Apollo. I think that's hilarious.
Mm.
But anyways, Eric, what is your number three?
My number three is Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox.
Wow.
I guess, yeah, I guess that counts.
It's a
Like,
basketball
movie.
It
Yeah.
ends in a basketball game. The whole thing is a basketball game at the end. And he has to win it on his own and not as the
A
wolf.
beer.
It's actually pretty
I'm
good.
trying to guess like your next two movies. Let's see, like The Absent-Minded Professor, maybe.
Oh,
That
I
also
mean, Flubber
is a
I
basketball
mean,
movie.
that's true, yeah.
Anyway,
Angels in the
all right,
Outfield.
go ahead.
But yeah, no, Teen
Technically,
Wolf.
Angels in the Outfield is a fantasy movie.
That's in my like honorable mentions, but yeah.
Okay.
I almost put that in the place of Space Jam, but I hadn't seen it had been so long since I've seen Angels in the Outfield that I couldn't remember.
Mm.
Other than like the kid holding his thumb up in front of the moon and going like, that's God's thumbnail. It's about all I can remember from that movie. But yeah, Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf's super silly, shouldn't work. It is being carried on the back of Michael J. Fox for 90 minutes. And his dad. His dad's pretty good in it. But like it's just a silly coming of age story about a kid who turns into a wolf and then becomes good at everything. And that's the twist of the movie that works really well to me, is that usually like in these type of movies it's like a shameful secret that they have to hide and keep from
Yeah.
people, and he's just wearing it out everywhere.
just
Like people are like the wolf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody loves the wolf. Yeah.
That's the turn of the movie
Wait a
it
minute,
for me.
Dad. You're telling me that I'm gonna turn into the wolf when the moon is full? Whoa, this is heavy.
Man, no, the reveal on his dad also being a wolf
When he
like,
opens the
it's
bathroom
the
door,
door.
and he's just gone wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, chef's kiss. So good. So good. It's a silly movie.
My favorite part in the movie is when he goes in the liquor store. He's like, I want a keg of beer. He's like, no, you can't have one. You don't have an ID. He's like, I want a keg of beer.
Eyes turn a little red.
I just watched Animal House. I rented it from Blockbuster.
So good. But yeah,
I've actually never seen this whole movie from beginning
you've
to
never
end.
seen Teen Wolf?
I
You
think
should watch
clips
Teen
of
Wolf.
that.
It's a fun watch. Like, put it on like on a casual Sunday afternoon when you have nothing better to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
90 minutes will fly
or
by.
when you're sick. Like if you're
Yeah.
sick,
Mhm.
Oh,
it's the perfect movie when you're sick. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jackson? What is your number three?
Number three, also a basketball movie, but like
mm.
a more typical one is Hoosiers
Oh, love
yeah.
that movie.
with Gene Hackman, Dennis Hopper,
Mhm.
Barbara Hershey. Just like this is kind of the prototypical like inspirational sports drama. Like, I know Rocky had come before it,
Mhm.
but when you look at the sort of inspirational sports drama going forward, Hoosiers is more the template. It's the Remember the Titans or the We Are Marshall or
Mhm.
any number of those kind of movies. Um, And it's one of those movies, like it's so sparse and so sort of grounded, and there's nothing like over the top sentimental about it. Even like the
Hmm.
inspirational speeches, they're not that inspirational. Like
We got Gene Hackman in there, and he's kind of a
Gene
dickhead
Hackman's
in all
just
this
like
movie.
playing it as a shithead for a good portion of
Hmm.
the movie.
Yeah.
But when you finally get to that last game, like the halftime, right before they go out and win the state championship, and all he has to say is, "I love you guys."
Hmm.
And it is amazing. And then you've got Dennis Hopper on the sidelines of this movie giving like maybe the best performance of his career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's the
Like,
same year Blue Velvet came out. He did this and
is
Blue
it the
Velvet in
same
like the
year? Oh
same
my
year.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
fucking in that
crazy.
move.
And then you've got him giving this just,
Real quick. Rest in peace, David Lentz.
yeah,
Yeah, even though I've never seen any of his
rest in
movies,
peace.
but still, I just liked him as a personality.
I mean, cool guy, coolest guy.
Dude,
I don't love
my
his movies.
favorite, dude,
I love some of his movies,
he gives
but
my favorite on-set meltdown of all time. When I don't know what movie it was, but somebody was asking him that, you need to do like these quick cuts and, make the scene shorter. And he's like, what is this? Seriously? They drive me nuts. Who gets a fucking shit how long the scene is?
Pretty sure that was Twin Peaks The Return.
It
I've
might
seen
have
that
been.
clip. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just love that. Yeah, I just love that anybody like, who gets a fucking shit how long the scene is?
but
Hmm.
anyway, Hoosiers about the high school Indiana basketball team with Gene Hackman, like Dennis Hopper in the same year as Blue Velvet, where he plays this blustery, violent, just like obscene man. In this movie, he's giving a performance that's so vulnerable and
Right,
raw,
yeah.
and you just the fact that he's so embarrassing to his son because he's the town drunk, but
Hmm.
he's also like the guy that knows the most about basketball. Like he's, he becomes the assistant coach and he fucks that up. But I don't know. This movie, I just love it so much. It's like I said, it's very understated,
Hmm.
Hmm.
more so than a lot of the movies that would copy it later on. But every character in it, even like Jimmy Chitwood, you know, he's the star basketball player, and that
Hmm.
kid cannot act, but
Hmm.
you still get a very good sense of who his character is.
Hmm.
The scene where he's like just shooting free throws out in his like backyard or whatever, and he's making every one, and then coach comes and says something. He says, "I don't care if you play on the team or not." And then you see Jimmy miss one for the first time. Every scene in this movie is so great. I love it. I love it.
It was always, I remember that struck me as like a kid when I was watching it. I haven't watched it in a very long time, but it was all like the character development that always worked really well with this movie. It's like
Yeah.
every character felt very, very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Like time went into all like every single person and give them like a little life, and they
And
weren't
there's
just
no
like
reason
a
it has to
cardboard
be that
cutout.
way. Like
Yeah.
like it's a perfectly serviceable plot or whatever, but
Hmm.
man, they just put so much thought into everything. All the
Yeah.
actors and everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. Um, Even though I only seen this movie like once, I do agree with you. This is a really spectacular movie. And Dennis Weaver or Hopper, um, not Dennis Weaver, Dennis Hopper, yeah, he's great in this movie. Like almost like Oscar worthy. I don't know if he got nominated for
He
this.
got nominated for this movie.
Oh yeah,
For
worst
Dennis
this
Hopper
performance.
movie?
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Deservedly so, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I just love how he just loves basketball, like a
Yeah.
lot. Like he just loves basketball. And my favorite part in this movie, and I remember my mom was telling me, "Oh, you gotta listen up to this part." Is when they get to the arena, where the state game is being played, and then he gets somebody to measure, the hoop, the height of
Yeah.
the hoop, and he
Hmm.
says, "This is regulation height." and it's not any different than
It's the
what we
same.
have at home or anywhere
Yeah.
else. It's just the
Oh,
arena's bigger.
oh, you're giving me all the feels just thinking
Yeah.
about that scene.
Yeah, I
It's
just
the
love that,
same
man.
here as it is in our gym back home, man.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. That is, yeah, kid, yeah.
Because there's only what, six, seven guys on the team,
Mm.
Yeah.
so everybody has to play the whole game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's the thing about it is like, it's kind of a metaphor for life, no matter, how big and challenge is, just take it one step at a time. It's
yeah,
like in Creed, one
Hmm.
punch at a time, one step at a time, one round at a time.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So if you guys don't have anything else to say about Hoosiers, you're good to get to my number three.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Okay. My number three is my most unconventional one in the whole list, and that is gonna be Moneyball with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, a movie I did not appreciate
Hmm.
until I watched a video on it from the editor of the YouTube channel, Mr.
Hmm.
Sunday Movies. I don't know if you guys are
Okay, yeah, I
familiar with
watched
that.
that
Yeah, the two
show.
Australian guys.
Hmm.
And there once in a while I look at their editor to do like an editorial. And this is this guy's favorite movie of all time.
Hmm.
And he explained why. Because it explained a topic that, me and this person that's reviewing this movie are not interested in, which is math and baseball. I don't like
Hmm.
baseball. I think it's boring. Love to go see baseball games because of the atmosphere. I just don't. Other than that, I don't give a fucking shit about baseball. But this movie is just so fascinating because
Hmm.
usually most sports movies are about the team or the coach or a player in particular.
Right.
This is about the owner.
Well, not the owner. He's the general manager.
Yeah, yeah, it's about the manager of
Yeah.
the Oakland A's, the Oakland
Well,
Athletics.
that's even different than the manager. Like in
Yeah.
baseball, the hierarchy is
Hmm.
very important. He is the
Oh.
general manager. So he is the go-between
Mm,
between the owner and the team. Like he's the guy that's in charge of like making all the deals and the trades and all of that stuff. He doesn't
mm.
own the team, but he's also not on the field with the team during the game. That's the
Right.
manager. That's the
Hmm.
distinction. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
I
you're good,
do love
man.
baseball, so these things matter to me.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I just like seeing Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt's characters like trying to figure this shit out, trying to find
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
the players that are overlooked and exploit the one thing that they're amazing at and like stake it for all it's worth. And then
Right.
like when this video I watched said it's about repetition. And you know what? I can relate to that working in retail, feeling like, you're in this broken system. You're in
Yeah.
this repetitive, broken system. And then you're trying to get your voice out and nobody wants to fucking hear you. And
Right.
everybody around you wants to do things the way it always been. And
Yeah.
that's not working. And
Mhm.
there's a fascinating line at the end of this movie where there's a 20 game win streak with Oakland. And I can't remember what happened, but something happened where it broke, and then Billy Bean, Brad Pitt's character, gets fired.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
And then it's like a panning shot of the field as the lights go out, and you hear like these sports broadcasters say, what, Billy Bean's an idiot, or not. He didn't say that, but he said, Billy Bean, went into this, very arrogantly, because baseball has always and will always have a formula, and he didn't meet that formula, but it wasn't working for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Yankees were getting all the good players.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting any good players. So by you doing this new thing, by doing this new, tactic,
Hmm.
it genuinely worked for him. Oh, because he won lots a game or two. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's kind of bullshit. And I think it almost kind of a commentary, almost like we were talking about a little about in Shaun of the Dead, about being complacent and being comfortable and how
Mhm.
things are, not venturing outside of things. You know what I mean? And I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think I'm experiencing that a little bit working at Zoo Carnival, 'cause that is very much night and day different than
Mhm.
Staples or any other like retail store that I hear stories about.
Retail is all the same.
Yeah,
It's terrible. All of
yeah.
it.
Except for Zoo Carnival at Conway, they're awesome. They do things really differently. They're very hands-on with you, and they really care about their employees.
That's good.
Yeah, and their and their lives. But yeah, this movie really gets to me as far as that goes,
Mhm.
for sure.
And the cast is like stacked. I always
Yeah.
forget that Philip Seymour Hoffman is in this movie.
Yes. And
He's
the
the
only
manager.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
only conventional sports moment in this whole movie is when Chris Pratt goes at bat and then he just
I forgot Chris
like
Pratt
just
was in the movie.
freaking
Dang, yeah.
hammers it out of the field.
Hmm.
And then so there's this thing in the movie where Billy Bean never watches the game. He always goes to the team's gym and work out.
Hmm.
And he's just
Hmm.
sitting there, and then as soon as he hears the ball go overhead, or he hears the hit of the
Yeah.
ball, like he just looks up like, whoop.
The crack of the bat
Yeah,
is
man, that
the
gets me.
most unmistakable sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about this movie is just this guy who has such joy in the sport that
Mm,
he's been with forever,
Hmm.
and he's lost that joy,
mm,
and then by the end he finds a way to regain it,
mm,
because to him it's just like, you know, we may go to the pennant, we may go to the World Series, but whatever, I just want to win the last game of the season.
mm,
I just want to go out on a good note,
mm.
and then next year we'll figure out what goes next. But right now, I just want to end winning the game.
So what's the
So
difference
good.
between the pennant and the World Series?
Well, the pennant is the league championship that goes to the World Series. So
Oh, kind of like
American
the
League, National League, there's the AL pennant, the NL pennant,
okay,
and
kind of
then
like the conference
the two pennant
championship,
winners go to the World
NFL.
Series. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. What are your thoughts, Eric?
Moneyball's pretty great. I don't know. I don't have many thoughts besides that. I haven't. This is another movie that I haven't. I don't watch a lot of sports movies
Hmm.
over and over. I haven't seen this since it came out, which was like what 2011,
Yeah, I haven't seen it
2010. I
since it
haven't
came
seen it
out
in very
either,
long.
but yeah, I mean, it's a great movie.
Well,
It's good.
do yourself a favor and watch Moneyball again. It's
I've got a
like
list.
Who
I've
has
got
the
a list
time?
going.
Who
Yeah.
has the time?
watch Moneyball. It's
We have to
amazing.
watch so many movies just for this show.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, and yeah, we got to watch so many movies for our Oscar poll this year too.
Yeah, I'm way behind.
Ugh,
I still need to see
same.
Pickle Boys, and yeah. Anyway,
Oh, speaking of what, I did watch A Real Pain, and that was really good.
which one?
Mm.
A Real Pain.
Oh, Real
Real Pain
Pain.
is
Yeah, that
good.
is.
Real Pain
I
Yeah,
is
that
like
made
good.
my
that
top
one.
five for the
Yeah,
year.
we talked about that last time, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, Eric. What is your number three? Yeah, number three.
It's number two. No, number two. We're
Or
at
number
number
two.
two
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at number two.
This is probably my most traditional, I guess, of sports movies. And I wanted to include a baseball movie in
What
here
is it
somewhere.
gonna be? Oh my gosh.
So I picked Field of Dreams is my
Oh,
number
shit.
two
Okay, yeah.
because it's a fantasy.
It
Although
is.
it doesn't quite work for
I
me.
thought for a
Like
second you were going to go with the 1951 version of Angels in the
the
Outfield,
outfield, which is
starring
really good.
Janet
It's a
Leigh.
really good original one. But no, I picked Field of Dreams. I watched it recently. Just like before even Drew suggested doing this. And it's a movie that it's super sentimental. Like it wears its heart on its sleeve.
Is the sappiest movie ever.
It's movie ever of all time.
Yeah.
And to me, the beginning and the end work, but the middle falls apart in a lot of ways. Like they
Hmm.
just start time
Okay.
traveling for some reason, and then like
Right.
there's a kid who time travels. None of that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I
but
can
I
buy
love
kids
that
walking out of the
about
cornfield.
it. I
I
love
guess
that part.
so.
They
Like, I
build, if
love
you
that
It's
it's
build it,
fun.
they will
nonsense.
come. Sorry, I love that
It's
line.
perfect nonsense.
Yeah.
You're right. It is nonsense, but to me, I'm at that point in the movie. I'm just like, what is this movie even? I don't know. It
Yeah.
throws me out a bit,
But
but
it's Moonlight Graham.
I
It's Moonlight
guess
Graham. And then they time travel and they meet old Moonlight Graham. And then he time travels somehow and he's young Moonlight
somehow,
Graham.
yeah. And then
And
he's on the field.
honestly, the best summary of this movie is the John Mulaney monologue from the Oscars last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that. I remember the part of the monologue. I don't remember that
Oh,
one.
go on YouTube and look up the John Mulaney monologue
Okay,
from the Oscars last year. It's the best. Anyway,
Yeah.
Eric, I stopped you, but
it's okay. Field
yeah.
of Dreams. Everyone's seen it, and that's why I kind of wanted to pick things
Mhm.
that because all of my other ones were just very traditional stuff, and this one is very traditional. But the rest of them, like I don't know, I felt like people have talked about, like The Natural in every which way
Mhm.
form,
Right.
But I don't know. I love The Natural. It was on my list of like real ones that I was going to do.
It was on my short
Um,
list, yeah,
yeah,
but it didn't quite make the final five.
yeah. I also
But
wanted. I almost picked The Sandlot and put it here too, because it has that scene with the beast in the middle of it, and I was like, is that enough? But I don't
Eric,
know.
shut up now.
Sorry.
Stop ruining
Well,
my
that's that.
future
That was
Eric,
my number two.
installments.
That was my number
Eric,
two. So
you know what you are? You're an L7 weenie.
thank you. I am an L7 weenie. It's a medical
I don't know what
condition.
that means.
You're a loser.
A square. L7.
Oh,
It's a
I get it.
square.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get it. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, Jackson, what is your number two?
Are we done with Field of
Oh
Dreams?
yeah, are we done
Yeah,
with
we're
Field of
done.
Dreams?
We're done with Field of Dreams.
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't really
sorry.
have anything to say about it. I threw it in there because I couldn't think of anything else that was even remotely good in that. There's a lot of. I
It's a
will say this.
beautiful movie. I
It's a
think
beautiful
Field of
movie.
Dreams is a beautiful film. It is complete nonsense, but it's the
Yeah.
best kind of Americana magical realism nonsense.
Hmm. Yeah, I need
I
to
will
watch
say
that
this
one
though
again.
before we move on. I looked up I looked up a bunch of movies that were in like the horror or sci-fi or fantasy sports. And there's a lot of trash out there, like hot trash. And so like this is a pretty good list of genre-esque sports
I don't
films.
really know like horror sports movies. Like
There was one in 2011 that was like a wrestling movie but with monsters. And the premise sounds
is
amazing,
that
but it's
the
not
only
good.
one though? Is nobody
No,
made a horror sports movie?
there's like there's like a bowling one's called like Gutter Balls or something, and then there's
Nobody's made like a horror baseball movie.
I don't think so. I didn't see any
Well,
horror baseball
I
ones.
feel like we need to write that and send it off to the gods of Hollywood.
To the
Yeah,
football team
they'll
from
make it.
Beetlejuice don't count.
No, whole movie about them though, how they got there.
Now I just really want to see a true horror like sports movie, like a
Hmm.
baseball movie,
Let's
football,
do it.
basketball, whatever.
Let's do it. Monster
Hmm.
Ball.
Mutant League Football. Did anybody play that game
Played
when
that
they were a
game.
kid?
No, I never heard of
Played
it.
that game.
Maybe that's
Loved
a
it.
movie.
Hmm.
Mutant League Football.
I feel
You
like
can
that would be
kill
an
the
easy
ref.
thing to
That
make.
is an
Yeah,
official play call in the game. Kill ref. You get penalized, but you can still do it because it's fun.
That's awesome.
because it's fun.
All right. So we're on to my number two, I
Hmm.
guess.
Hmm.
So did anybody else pick a documentary?
No.
Are you about to pick?
Not the one you're thinking of.
Oh, never mind. But maybe I don't know.
Were you thinking Hoop Dreams?
Yeah.
I'm not picking Hoop Dreams.
Are you picking Murder Ball?
No.
Oh,
Murder
I don't
Ball's
know.
really great too.
Murder
Like
Ball's really good.
all these are really good movies, but I'm picking one that was made in the 30 for 30 series on ESPN.
Mm,
Ooh.
So
okay.
not a theatrical film, but still a
Sure.
film. And it's the one I alluded to earlier. It's called Four Falls of Buffalo.
Mm. I've
Have
Ooh.
y'all
never
seen
seen it.
this?
No,
Wow.
never seen this.
It's one of the 30 for 30 series, and it is about the Buffalo Bills from 1990 to
Hmm.
1993, where they went to four Super Bowls in a row and lost all four.
It's heartbreaking.
The most heartbreaking story, and it's come back around because the past few years, like they haven't made it to the Super Bowl. They've made
Hmm.
it almost to the Super Bowl, and they've been beaten by the Chiefs
Oh
every
no.
time.
Of course.
And you know
Those
what?
poor
I have a
Bills.
shirt from one of those wins
Hmm.
where it says, if you I can't remember what it says, but it's got the score and everything on it.
Mm.
And I just feel really bad for the Buffalo Bills. One of my best friends, his name is Ben. I don't think he listens to this, but I'll get him to listen to this episode. He's my fantasy football commissioner as well,
Mm.
and he is a lifelong diehard Bills fan.
Hmm.
Like sometimes he goes up to Buffalo. Like he was in Buffalo this past season watching a game in the like snow drifts, like they had to like clean the snow off the seats and everything. Like it was deep, deep snow. And I watched this movie and I think of my friend Ben and how his heart has been broken by his team
Mm.
like an absurd number of times. And, you know, my heart goes out to the Buffalo Bills because they are truly one of the greatest sports dynasties in American history. Like
Hmm.
they have had some of the greatest teams and they have never won a Super Bowl.
Right.
But just going to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row,
Mm.
1990 to 1993, who has ever done that? Nobody. They
Nope.
Yeah.
lost all four. Two of them to the Cowboys.
Of course.
Um,
What the Cowboys?
well, yeah, now, but in the 90s, the Cowboys were cool.
No, even back then, fuck the Cowboys. They suck.
No, but they were cool back then.
No, I don't care about the Cowboys.
But anyway, the point is what I love about sports movies is the sort of mythic nature of them.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And this movie, though it be a documentary and made from like archival footage and interviews and stuff, really captures that sort of mythic
Hmm.
nature of sports because it is about like the perpetual loser who nevertheless may rise again and reclaim glory. Like, and so, you know, ever since I've seen this movie, I've just been kind of rooting for the Bills in secret in my heart all
Mm.
the time. Like I really want them to win. Anyway,
Right.
that's my
An
number two.
Another really good 30 for 30. My favorite one is the 85 Bears.
I haven't
Mm.
watched that one. Okay.
That one's really good about, about the Ditka Bears and they, won the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. What's some of the other good ones? Like
The Ric Flair one's
I
good,
Hate
even though he's
Christian
an
Leitner. That's a good one. Everybody Knows Bo, I think is the name of it.
yeah.
About Bo
Mm.
Jackson. That's a really
Yeah,
good
Ric
one.
Flair one's really good, even though he's an
Mhm.
asshole.
Yeah.
Woo! Um, Eric, no, my number two, okay?
It's
It's
your
your
number
number
two.
two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rudy, Rudy,
Okay.
Rudy,
Knew it was coming
Rudy.
in.
Gotta go freaking Rudy, man. Like, this movie is so beautiful. Like, I didn't realize, like, this movie makes my mom cry.
Hmm.
And it makes
It's
me
that
cry
Charles S.
too.
Dutton clap. It's that Charles S. Dutton. Just
Yeah.
one
Oh,
hand.
that's a beautiful part of this movie too, where he, had dreams of being a football player too, and it got
Hmm.
across. And he
Yeah.
didn't,
Hmm.
and he just thinks, Rudy's dreams is just, just so crazy. And I don't know, man, this is just a really beautiful movie. Like this guy just wants to do everything he can
Hmm.
just play one down of football for Notre Dame.
Hmm.
Um, cause he just loves that team so much.
Yeah.
Like his whole life, he just wants to get there. one day, and he finally did. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And like his father didn't believe in him. Um, his brother didn't believe in him. This, his boss, that did the maintenance and the field didn't believe in him. Really, the only people that believe in him is his best friend who dies, and then this pastor at the church, and then John Favreau. Oh no, yeah, it's John Favreau. John Favreau's character
Hmm.
kind of believes
I
in
always
him.
forget John Favreau is in this movie
Same.
as like
Yeah.
his buddy.
Right. Yeah, I love John Favreau in this movie, and he
Yeah.
trying to get Rudy to flirt with girls. It's kind of fun. And he's like helping this one girl like get her bike up the stairs. And he's like, "Hey, my
Yeah.
name's Rudy. What's your name?"
Mm-mm.
Um, but man, this movie it just gets to me, man. It just gets to me. And then my favorite part of the movie is when the coach played by Jason Miller right before they're
Mm.
running out of the tunnel,
I always
and he's
forget
help.
Jason Miller is the coach in this movie. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, Father Karras, and he
Yeah.
goes up to Rudy and he tells and he asks "Are you ready, Rudy, Rutherford?" And he's like, "My whole life." Man, that is man, that's amazing.
No, I mean it's a movie that probably shouldn't work because there's like almost no football in the movie for the most part.
Mm,
But it's that Rocky sort of mentality. It's like how can you win and still lose? You know, like
right.
he only just wants to play, and so like I don't know. It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in a long while again.
Yeah,
I
and I
will
think
say this is another one of those movies where like if you love the movie, don't look up the real story because it's
Yeah,
disappointing.
not
sure
really.
will.
Is he a
Yeah,
piece
it's
of shit
nothing
too?
like the movie.
Is
What?
is the real life Rudy a piece of shit too?
No, he's just it's just so exaggerated
Oh
that
yeah.
yeah, like it
Most
didn't
true
really
stories
happen
are.
anything. Yeah, that's true. That's the problem with movies.
Mm.
One of these days we need to just talk about the problem with movies because
6 hour podcast.
yeah, it's just you kind of lose all perspective on what's real when you're
Mm.
watching a
Hmm.
movie. And
Yeah.
that's part of the point. Like I love the emotional impact of this movie,
Mm.
but it's such a fake thing. Like I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
still beautiful though.
I'm not criticizing the movie.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. And this is by
yeah.
far my favorite Jerry Goldsmith score.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I forgot Jerry
Like,
Goldsmith
More than
yeah.
score was.
Gremlins?
Yeah.
No, it's not Grim. It's Rudy. I love me some Gremlins. I love the Gremlin score, but it's Rudy all the way. Like this is
Okay.
the Jerry Goldsmith score I think of.
Okay.
He also did Hoosiers too, I think, didn't he?
Oh, did he? I
Yeah,
don't know.
I thought so.
I don't know. I'm not up on my Goldsmith filmography, but he
Yeah.
might have.
My favorite like piece of music in here is obviously the tryout scene, but
Mm,
then the part where Rudy goes to Notre Dame
mm.
and it's like super late at night. I love that, man. I can fall asleep to that like any day. That's how beautiful it is. But yeah, man, Rudy.
Rudy.
Anybody else got anything
Rudy,
else to say more about Rudy?
Rudy,
Rudy.
Rudy,
Oh, so I got an
Rudy.
awesome story to tell. So the same year I met Kevin Conroy at in Comic Con, I met Sean
Hmm.
Astin, and
Nice.
Mm,
I got my Return of the King, syndicate
Yeah.
cut booklet signed. And then
hmm.
later I went to his Q&A, and somebody mentioned Rudy,
Mm.
and the entire crowd literally
Started chanting.
Rudy, Rudy, Rudy. And I'm not even kidding, like 50-year-old Son Aston, he's either 50 or
Is
60.
his see? He's in his
Yeah.
probably 60s at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He jumps on top of the table and starts imitating the coach for the movie. Like doing that part when he imitates the coach.
Hmm.
That was the best moment of the entire day. Was him doing that. It was so beautiful.
He seems like a really chill dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Sean Astin. Yeah.
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 Apparently somebody approached him to direct a Fantastic Four movie.
Hmm.
Really?
Yeah. If he's
Okay.
never directed before.
He's directed some. He's done some short films. He directed a short film that got nominated for like an Oscar at one point.
Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying he wasn't a director at that point when that
Oh,
got
maybe.
offered to
Yeah, I don't
him.
know. I don't remember when he made that movie. I think it was called like Kangaroo Court or something like that.
No.
I
Hmm.
don't know. It's years ago.
Okay. Eric, what is your number one?
uh, this isn't my
What is this going to be?
this isn't my favorite Stephen Chow movie.
Oh,
But I do think
okay.
I think it's super fun. It's a movie called Shaolin Soccer.
I knew in my heart, Eric, that you were gonna put this on your list somewhere. Even before I knew you were doing all like fantasy sci-fi horror
Hmm.
sports movies, I was like, Eric's gonna pick Shaolin Soccer just to be different.
You pegged it. You got it. It's super fun, silly. It's almost like a cartoon. It's not quite horror sci-fi. I guess it's fantasy, you could say, because it's like these kung fu kids and they try to win this tournament to win $1 million. It's the only way they can do it, and it is just some of the effects are kind of dated. They were kind of dated back then, but like all of it's like super fun. And Drew, have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen
I've never heard
Shaolin
of it.
Soccer? You should watch Shaolin Soccer, and then after that, you should watch Kung Fu Hustle
Like I've heard of
because
Kung Fu Hustle.
another both of them are great.
Yep. And to wrap it up,
I love
I'll watch
Shaolin Soccer.
Karate Kid.
What is like the Jaden Smith one?
No, the original.
Which has nothing
Wait,
to do with
think to do
either of
with
these
what?
movies.
I'm
What are
just
you talking
saying.
about?
I just
Okay,
like the Karate Kid. Just
Shaolin
didn't
Soccer
just
though.
watch Karate Kid.
Shaolin Soccer is like
Nobody
a
picked
Looney
the
Tunes
Karate
cartoon.
Kid for their list.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I know what Drew's number one is, so yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
it's
picked.
obvious.
Yeah,
So obvious.
yeah.
Same
But
director as Rocky, though.
Yeah.
oh,
I actually like the Karate Kid better than Rocky.
Well,
mhm.
fuck you, Jackson.
It's a better
Friendship
movie than
over.
Rocky.
Friendship over.
It's so much a better movie than Rocky. Because Rocky does not have the performance by Pat Morita.
Well, it has a
It's true.
performance by Burgess Meredith, which is
Yeah, which
equally
is
as
not
good.
as good as the
Is Pat
performance by
Murray.
Pat Morita.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
only got
fair.
one thing to say to you, Jackson, and it's this.
Okay, that's fine. You're wrong, but that's fine.
I'm right.
Is your number one Karate Kid, Jackson?
No, it's not.
No. I feel like I know what your number one is.
Yeah,
And
you
it almost
definitely know.
yeah. So anyway, watch Shaolin Soccer. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you. It's wonderful.
Okay.
That's my number one.
Okay. Even though you just destroyed Rocky, I'm gonna let you say your number one.
Like you have a choice.
I mean, Rocky's okay.
Fuck off,
It's
Jackson.
fine.
Fuck off. Honestly, I'm kidding. I respect your opinion, even though I disagree with it highly.
That's fine. I don't respect yours, so.
Me
Wow.
too.
Them fighting words. Some fighting words. Dude, I'm trying to be the bigger person there and say
That's
I
what makes this show fun is the fighting words.
Yeah. But we don't
Nobody
actually
Otherwise,
wants
it's
to
just a
listen to a
disagree.
podcast where everybody just agrees with everybody all the
Yeah,
time.
Mhm.
but we don't
Fair
actually
point.
like hate
Good
each
point
other.
about that.
Just for the record. We
No.
actually do like each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
No
I have
one
to respect
believes that.
all your opinions.
You know, I'm not saying you have to respect all my opinions, but I don't need to respect the fact that Rocky is a fucking phenomenal movie.
Okay. My number one is The Sandlot,
Okay.
which
You saved
Eric
yourself,
knew
Jackson.
because
You saved yourself.
though it is unreleased, Eric and I actually recorded like a 2 hour
Oh no.
podcast about this with my mom and my friend Holly uh for Family with Family, but
Mhm.
that whole season has not been released yet. And
Oh yeah, we still need to do a Sound of Music episode with me and my mom.
yeah, but you kept backing out of it, so we didn't get to do
I
it.
didn't back out of it. I was ready to do it.
No, your mom backed out of it.
No, she was totally ready to do
Your
it.
mom.
She
Okay.
was totally ready to do it.
Anyway, The Sandlot. So, baseball is my favorite sport.
Mm.
Not because it's the most exciting sport, but because it's the most poetic sport to
Hmm.
me. You know, I know everybody's got their own opinions on this, and to me, baseball is the most beautiful game. Um, and The Sandlot is a movie that represents the beauty of baseball, I think, better than any movie that's ever been made. I can't think of another movie that represents how lovely and personal and
Hmm.
inclusive. Well, it wasn't always inclusive, but it got that way.
Mhm.
Um, but The Sandlot is a movie about being inclusive.
Hmm.
It's about a kid that has no athletic ability whatsoever. He's a nerd. He spends all his time in his room building erector sets and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And he finally gets the chance to go out and make friends. And it's with this like ragtag baseball team who get terrorized by a giant dog. So it's a baseball movie and a dog movie.
And
So
a coming of age movie.
and a coming of age movie. And it is directed with the skill of no less than Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
But this is like 90s Ridley Scott when he was really like
Trying.
burning
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
on on all cylinders.
Mhm.
Like and the guy that directed this movie, David Mickey Evans, never made another good movie again.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
He barely ever worked again. He made like a sequel that was bad to The Sandlot.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But this movie is so perfect in its conception and its execution. And I think a lot of people shit on it because they see it as just like a cheesy kids movie from the 90s.
Mhm.
And there was so many cheesy kids movies from the
There were
90s,
so many,
especially
and
about
so many
sports.
about baseball, so
Yeah.
many that came out in the same year or
Mhm.
the year after or the year before. Like
Hmm.
this movie came in a slew. There was a Connecticut or a kid in King Arthur's
King
Court.
Arthur's
There
Court.
was
Yeah.
Angels in the Outfield. There was Little Big League. There was Rookie of the Year. There
Hmm.
was The Big Green, which was soccer, but whatever, same thing.
Little Giants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
was
was
gonna say
all
Little
Little
this.
Giants,
Giants.
like all these sports kids comedies, and The Sandlot just rises above them all because it
Mighty
is
Ducks.
Mighty Ducks, yes,
Mighty Ducks. Yeah.
because it is not about a worst to first team. It is not
Mm-mm.
about winning the game. It is about the beauty of the game, and it
Yeah,
is about having friends and coming to understand things that you don't understand.
yes.
It is about like welcoming the other. It
Mhm.
is about so many things. Basically, everybody in this country needs to go and watch The Sandlot right
Mhm.
now. I'm getting a little choked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I
But
like it a
it
lot.
is a movie that is about so many profound, beautiful things that's encapsulated in
Mhm.
this silly kids baseball comedy
Hmm.
where they fight a big dog. I can't even I can't even express how much this movie means to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's a
love The
great.
Sandlot too.
Yeah, it's a
Eric,
great.
I know we talked about
We've talked
this
about
at length,
it.
but if you have any thoughts here,
um, yeah, no. So when I was a kid, baseball was my favorite sport. I played a lot of baseball, watched a lot of baseball kids movies, and just baseball movies in general as a kid. This was by far my favorite of those movies.
Mhm.
Um, Not only because not necessarily because the game was secondary. They played a lot of baseball in the movie itself,
Yeah,
but it is about those sort of it is more about sort of the coming age portions of it, which sometimes those movies kind of suck, but like this one feels so it feels different in ways that I can't really quite express. So
yeah,
the idea that like Benny, who's like clearly like would be the bully in every other movie because he's
right.
really good and has to learn his lesson. He is like the kind heart and the hero of the movie. Like he's the white knight to like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I don't know. I love it. It's really good.
Drew,
And
you
it's
have
so much
thoughts?
fun.
Well, what makes this movie different is it doesn't lead to a big game
No.
at
No,
all.
yeah. There's a
It
chase,
it
but there's
leads
not
to a
a
mythical chase
Mm.
through the streets of Los Angeles. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, so that's what I liked about this movie.
Suburban Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
and it's just about, kids just hanging out playing baseball and,
Yeah.
you know, like, do eating has and going on a Ferris wheel ride or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and
And the
kids
other
being
thing
hot
is it's beautifully
lifeguards.
made.
Yeah.
Like the cinematography is
hmm
gorgeous. Like
Mm,
I think people don't even think about that when they're watching the movie.
That
mm,
There
that
are
that night
shots,
scene, yeah.
there are shots in that movie that just I still think about in
mm,
my head. The shot
hmm
where the one kid is like walking down from the treehouse and
mm.
he's covered in dust because they've been like using vacuum cleaners that exploded to get the baseball back, over the fence. And it's just this like I don't know how first time director makes this movie and then never makes another good movie. Like
Right.
You know, it's the
it's this
anomalies of it. It's
miracle of a movie.
yeah. It's like do you ever see Night of the Hunter? The
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
with Mark
Charles
Richards.
Lawton.
Guy
Yeah,
never
he never
Walt
know.
never made another movie,
Well,
but he
he
made
never made
almost a
another
perfect
movie
movie.
because he hated the
Making
experience
the
the
process movie. Yeah.
studio put him
This guy
through.
Right.
wanted to keep doing it, but he just never had that.
He just didn't have the
And
juice anymore.
yeah,
He spent
he
it
burned it
all
all
on
up.
this movie.
Right.
And
You're killing me,
thank you
Smalls. You're
for it.
killing me.
But thank you. Yes, thank you for this movie because this
hmm
movie is gonna last forever.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
It was funny is I watched the second one quite a bit as well
Okay.
growing
Really?
up.
I
And
don't
for
think
I've
I've ever
some
never
watched
reason,
seen
it.
it.
I've
yeah,
never
I
seen
both,
it either.
tried to watch it, but I couldn't get through more than like 15, 20 minutes.
hmm
yeah, like both movie kind of like collide with me.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
cause I always thought like Benedict what's his face, the main kid.
Yeah.
hmm
I thought he wore Nikes when
Mm-mm.
he was getting
Pia
No, he wears
Flyers.
PF
Pia
flyers.
Yeah,
It's
and that
Flyers.
was
very
in the second
specific.
one. Yeah, he wore Nikes.
Oh, they got rid
Yeah.
of Pia Flyers for the second one?
Nope.
Mm-mm. I already don't like it.
Well, because the second one's in the 60s, and the first one's in the 50s, I
No, the
think.
first one's in the 60s. I think the second one's
hmm
in the 70s. So yeah.
Oh,
mm
yeah, Nike,
But yet
yeah.
Nike still wouldn't have been a thing because Nike didn't really become a big thing until the 80s with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but he
yeah.
still had
Anyway,
Nikes in that
that's
movie.
that's nitpicky stuff, but whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love this movie. This movie's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
All
The
So
right.
it's
second one was made in 2005. Weird.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think Greg Kinnear's in that one too.
I know he's in
In
the
the
Bad News
sequel?
Bears remake
Oh,
as the
really?
evil coach. Yeah.
Evil.
Um,
All right,
okay.
Drew, I guess it's your number one now.
Yep,
We
everybody
all know
knows
what
what
it
it
is.
is. It's gonna be a little ba 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 ba
I don't know what
ba
it is.
ba ba
Hmm.
ba 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 ba
Yes, we
ba ba.
okay,
It's
you're
gonna be
Caddyshack?
done.
fucking Rocky. Shut the hell up, Eric. It's Rocky. It's not Kadzak.
The Cutting
Here's the thing,
Edge?
Drew. When you do the musical cues from these movies, you keep it going for like 2 bars too long.
Well, I
We
like.
all know what you mean when you go bum 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 bum, bum, but then you keep
Well,
going.
you know what? I like the Rocky music. Okay, so fuck
Everybody
you.
likes the Rocky music. It's great.
Yeah, Rocky's awesome. So get over it. Man, where do I
Liked it better when, it was the orchestra conducted by Bill Conti or whatever, but sorry, I'm feeling a little salty tonight.
I don't feel like you never said that. Okay. Anyways.
Wait till
Um
we get to Midnight Special. Ooh.
oh
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh,
There's
ooh,
gonna be
Okay.
ooh,
some
ooh.
fisticuffs. Um But anyway, man, where do I start with my love of Rocky? I think it really comes down to characters, is what I think of when I think
Mm,
of this movie. Rocky is a big guy. He has a deep voice,
Hmm.
and he works for the mob on the side, while he boxes, and he just struggles. And he lives in a really rough town, part of Philadelphia, which is Kensington, which is a complete shithole nowadays. I watched a documentary about the drug,
Mm.
scene there. It's really bad in
Mm.
Kensington since the
mm,
70s. It's really bad. But anyways, um, he's a nice guy, man. He walks this little girl home, which is kind of creepy because like they're kind of a love interest in six.
No, I never read it that way in six.
Okay,
No, it's not like that.
okay,
I
interesting.
think that's people overreaching. It's not like that.
Okay, um, he's super friendly with this pet stop clerk, Adrian. Um,
mm.
he's tried to be as nice as possible to Adrian's brother Polly. He's just a complete scumbag. Like there's nothing likable about Polly whatsoever.
No, and there never is anything like about Polly through the rest of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. Like they're like,
Except the robot. That's pretty cute.
nah, I hate the
Yeah, which they
robot.
cut
Fucking
out of they cut it out of the director's cut. Like when they
Uh,
released that fourth one, they cut the robot out
like
completely.
here's a hot take. I actually do
Mm-mm.
think the direct cut of 4 is better than the original, in my opinion.
I never
Some of the
watched the
musical
director's cut. I always
Yeah,
wanted to.
some of the musical changes, like they put Eye of the Tiger at the beginning of the movie, that's kind of weird, but whatever. I still like it.
Mm.
But anyways,
so OG Rocky.
yeah. And then I love Adrian. More in the
Great.
sequels. I like Adrian more in the sequels because I feel like she speaks up more in those
Yeah.
movies.
Mm.
Probably the douchebag, but he's just so much fun to watch. Just to see this real miserable character. In all these movies. That's always fun. Um, Mickey, probably my favorite mentor character in any movie ever.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
just
Okay.
love, dude,
Huh.
some of the stuff that comes out of this guy's mouth is some of the funniest stuff ever. Like the scene right before the training montage where Rocky's in the ring and he
Mm.
meets his cut man. And right before that, Mickey goes, and when you go up against the heavyweight champion of the world, you're gonna be a very dangerous person. You're gonna eat thunder and you're gonna crap lightning. What does that even mean? Like, I don't want to know what that means, but it's fucking hilarious.
It could man, those lines really only work from Burgess Meredith. Like if someone else had been in that role, like it would be so like silly and
Yeah.
cringy.
And one of my favorite parts, and I totally get this, Rock, is when Mickey comes to visit him in his apartment to offer him management. Proper
Mm.
management. You just need proper management, kid. Um, and then Rocky just freaks out on him, and he just starts saying, yeah, well, you like my house, Nick? My house stinks. That's right, it stinks. The whole place stinks. I relate to that. I can relate to that. Just like this, your life is in the shitter, and just
Hmm.
everything just sucks at that current present moment in time. I get it, Rocky. I think everybody's been through that. Um, Man, and the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. This is my favorite cinematography in any movie ever.
Really?
Yeah,
Ever?
Rocky?
yeah. I just love how
Okay.
what's his name? The guy that invented the Steadicam. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, I don't know either, but yeah,
I
okay.
can't remember the top of my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to remember it, but yeah, the way that cinematographer, David Garrett, Garrett Brown, that's his
Uh-huh.
name. The way that Garrett Brown captures like the grittiness of Philadelphia at that time. Because like I said, Kensington is a piece of shit part of Philadelphia right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that he's able to capture like 70s Philadelphia is just absolutely gorgeous. And the different camera angles that he does, and the different camera movement it does. It's just so fun to watch.
Hmm.
Like the different ways that he kind of moves around this space. And they saw a lot of this movie in actual Philadelphia, which makes it authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I keep going back to how it is in that area today, and it's night and day difference. I mean, it's pretty shitty back then because it's the poor part, but it's really bad. It is
Yeah.
really bad. So yeah, it's after watching that documentary I watched, it's gonna be kind of weird watching the Rocky movie.
Apologies to all the people living in that neighborhood of Philadelphia.
Yeah, they call it this. Yeah, they basically call it Zombieland because it is like one of the worst like drug trafficked areas in America.
Mm.
And again, this is just that part of Philadelphia. Like the more like nicer parts is still pretty nice from what I hear, or nice-ish.
So back to Rocky.
Okay.
Rocky is good. Rocky, the
Yeah,
first Rocky is good. I think I like some of the sequels better, personally. If
all of them
I'm
are
if I'm
good.
being nitpicky.
Every single one of them is a good movie.
Oh, five is terrible. You know that.
Five is good. Five is good enough.
No, it's bad.
I've never seen five.
I
It's
said it
not
was
good.
good. I didn't say it was
I've
fantastic.
seen parts of five, but I think my favorite Rocket movie that I've seen is Rocky Balboa, actually.
Yeah, that one's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Rocky Balboa is really good. That one and three are like one of my favorite ones.
Mhm.
Actually, two is pretty good too. But
Yeah, two is
Also,
underrated.
Creed. Creed's really good.
First Creed's really good.
Yeah. Well, I think two is like one of the most underrated sequels of all time, in my opinion.
Rocky 2.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Rocky
it's
2 is
so
good.
underrated.
I
It is
can't
so.
get into Rocky 2. Like,
Oh, I love Rocky 2.
I don't know. It's just a lot of buildup and there's not much going on.
Yeah, I
I
agree
mean, it
the
is
fight.
basically the same movie again.
Yeah, I agree that the end fight is kind of boring compared to the first one. But man, that part when Adrian finally wakes up in the hospital bed, and then Rocky's running there by her side, and he's like, "Come in here, I need to tell you something." When? And you hear the bells of going the distance, the boom, and then he cuts to Rocky like doing push-ups on that wall, like this is silhouette. Dude, that gives me goosebumps every time I see that scene.
Is that two?
Yes, too.
Mm.
Here's what's weird about Rocky as a franchise. Sylvester Stallone, do not do the fucking voice. Please do not do the voice.
Rocky
No,
Balboa.
stop it. Stop it. Stop now.
Hey, you
Okay.
told me not to do the voice. I'm gonna do the voice to piss you the hell off.
Yeah, but I know what bringing up that name means, so I was just trying to curtail it. Anyway,
He who shall not be named.
Sylvester Stallone, throughout his career, has been this like crazy egomaniac. Um, he demands writing credits on all his movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He makes all these like Expendables movies now, and his most enduring character is this very like quiet, sensitive man from Philadelphia who just doesn't know how to express himself except through punching people. But at the
Mhm.
same time, like he's this loving family man. And I feel like Stallone, he just doesn't play those parts very much. Like
Mm-mm.
he's got this one character that's like he goes back to every once in a while. And it's like, oh, let's check in with Rocky again. And then everything else he makes is just ridiculous,
Rambo
over
Part
the
Two.
top
Yeah.
action. Like I don't get on with Stallone.
Do you ever see Copland though?
Yeah,
Movie came out. He's
like
pretty
that's
good
kind
in
of an
that.
exception,
Yeah.
but
I wish
that's
he would
not
do more
something he
movies like
had
that. No,
any like he was like he probably has a writing credit, who
he
knows.
probably does. Yes.
But it's James Mangold, you
Hmm.
know. But you look at Stallone's career and he's got this one guy that he's so locked into. And
I
yet
mean, it's
everything
him.
else seems like he's really stretching and clawing for something else. It's like,
Hmm.
dude, you're a good actor.
Mm.
Just do this. Yeah. No, I mean,
You
it
can
makes
do this some
sense.
more, but you just don't. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. He was down on his luck. He was
And
in a hole when he wrote
yeah,
this. And
and he's a
so,
very specific screen presence.
Mm.
Like he's got
hmm.
like this mumbly voice and he's real jacked and everything, but I still feel like there's Rocky represents unrealized potential in Stallone's
Hmm.
career,
Mm.
which makes sense because I think he believes that too, because this guy with unrealized potential just keeps winning and winning and getting
Mm.
better and greater and more
Hmm.
mythic. And
Mm.
yet all his other characters sort of recede into the background. Like nobody cares about Rambo anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although they kept
honestly,
making sequels up till a few years
They kept
ago,
making them, but
they were
nobody
bad.
cared.
Yeah. They
yeah.
kept getting
I don't
worse
know.
and
John
worse.
Rambo's pretty good.
Which
Mhm.
one's John Rambo? Is
That's
that the
the
one?
that's the
The
one
one
where
where
he's
he's
in
in Burma?
Cambodia
That is called
Yeah, that's it.
Rambo.
Cambodia.
and he's like guiding the people on the boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's
No,
pretty
you're
good.
right. That one's okay.
Came
Yeah,
out
that was
The
around the
ones
same
after that.
time as Rocky Balboa.
mm.
Right. It's like he can't do one without the other. He's like, I can't be sensitive. I need to
Yeah.
show them that I mean business too.
Yeah. I refuse to watch like the last Rambo that came out, the last Blood or
I
whatever the
didn't
fuck.
see it. Yeah, but
I don't know.
Stallone, like he has this like soft, sensitive heart that he just won't lay bare except in Rambo movies
Mm.
or
Hmm.
except in Rocky movies. Sorry.
Mm. Yeah, I just feel like he just need to venture out. I guess honestly, I hate to say this. The older I get, I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger feels like a more versatile actor because he can do like some serious dramas. He can do like the rompous like action movies, and he can do comedy way better than Stallone. Like he's
Yeah.
That's
funnier than
true.
Stallone.
Well,
He's better at
Schwarzenegger
comedy.
like tries more. Like
Mm,
he experiments more.
mm,
Whereas like Stallone did one comedy in
Oscar.
the 90s that flopped,
mm,
and
Hmm.
he only did it because he heard Schwarzenegger was thinking about doing it.
mm.
Well, he also did Stop or My Mother Will Shoot, and
That's
he
the one I'm
only
talking
real,
about.
Einstein.
but he also did a movie called Oscar, directed by
Oh, I forgot about Oscar.
who directed Oscar? I want to say it was John Landis. It's also not a very good movie,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
Rhinestone.
Stop
Don't
and
forget
My
about
Mom Will Shoot.
Rhinestone.
He only did that movie because somebody told him that Schwarzenegger was interested. And
Yeah.
so he
Mhm.
did it to one up Schwarzenegger, who had already made a name doing comedies.
Mm,
Mhm.
So I don't know. Stallone, like the true beating heart of an artist, just squashed by his own ego.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, and that's the
He's his
thing.
own worst enemy.
Well, and that's the thing about it is like you take the movie like Grunge Mask, which I really quite enjoy, and De
Mm.
I didn't
Niro's
see
having a
it.
good time, Kevin Hart's having a good time, Alan Arkin's having a good time. Everybody's having a good time in this movie, except for Sylvester Stallone, who's just completely just phoning it in the entire time.
Yeah.
Same thing with
Because
the
he
Expendable movies.
because he probably didn't get a writing credit.
Yeah,
That's
same
probably
thing with
true.
the Expendables. Like everybody else in those movies are having a good time except for Stallone.
Mm.
I don't get it. Just be happy in the moment, dude. Just be happy in the moment. But, anyways, that's Rocky, and I get to some honorable mentions.
Sure. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll go ahead and give you my real list. Of movies that I was going to pick, but then decided not to because they were almost all baseball movies except for like one, and so I was just like, I'll try to switch it up a
Because
bit.
that's the
So
best movie sport, as Patrick Willems on
kind of
YouTube
right.
has established. Baseball is the best sport for movies.
Yeah.
Um, so I got The Sandlot, A League of Their Own, Eight Men Out,
Hmm.
Mm.
um, The Natural, and well, actually, I switched out Natural or Bull Durham. I couldn't ever. I went back and forth on that one, but and then the last one was Hoop Dreams, which would have been my number one. But
Cool. Where about you,
you know me honorable
Jackson?
mentions.
What?
You mean do my honorable mentions? I got a couple of
Oh,
those too.
I thought that was honorable mentions.
No, those are my ones that I would have picked if I'd done a real
Oh, just
list,
do
but I
honorable
didn't do
mentions.
a
Hurry the
real
hell
list.
up, Eric.
Okay, sorry. You know what? We've rambled through Rocky for so long. Give me a second. I really love a movie called The Cutting Edge, Cool Runnings, Kingpin, Bloodsport, Caddyshack, Slapshots, Little Giants, White Men Can't Jump, and Nacho Libre.
I don't
Those are
believe
my
in
honorable
God. I believe
mentions.
in science.
Save me a piece of that corn.
Get that corn out of my face.
Love it.
All right. What about you, Jackson? Where's your honorable mentions?
Well, you know what? Eric mentioned most of the ones I was going to mention, so I will only mention one.
Mm,
And it's not even an honorable mention. It would be my number one, except it's not really a movie, it's a mini series.
mm.
And it's Ken Burns' Baseball,
Mm,
the documentary from 1994.
Is
mm.
it that
Um,
old? Man, I'm freaking.
yeah, I think it came out the same year as the strike, the
That's
baseball
nuts.
strike.
Yeah.
So 94. And it is a PBS documentary, with
Mm-hmm.
narrators and everything and interviews but it's, 9, 10, 12 hours long. I don't know. But it is the history of the sport of baseball from the beginning up until, whenever it was finished.
Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
talked about it in our movies in '94.
Yeah, 94. Yeah, and it's just I watched it with my parents recently, and every few minutes you're just like, "Oh, wow." Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Wow, Madison, Owen Wilson watching that movie. He's like, oh wow.
wow, wow. Yeah. But
How creepy
no,
does a
it's
word
it's
lizard?
it's beautiful. Like it's like I said, it's all like photographs and
Mm,
everything,
Mm-hmm.
but it just gives you the complete scope of how a sport evolves over
mm,
time. And
Kim
I think
Burns is
that's
always really good
important.
at
Like
that.
like I'm not somebody who watches sports every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
I watch it casually. I follow it to a certain extent. I love the stories that come out of
mm,
sports.
Mm-hmm.
But when you sit down and like engage with the story of a sport, I think it means something because it's the story of a culture. It's the story of a
Mm-hmm.
nation. Like
Mm-hmm.
like you could have the same documentary about soccer in most countries or hockey in Canada or
mm,
Russia or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
every sport has all these interconnected stories that tell a larger epic, and that's what
mm.
baseball is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And by you listening to it and participating and watching, you are part of that culture then too. It's
Right,
like this
exactly.
big community in which
And
we
that's
all
what a
exist.
lot of the movie
Yeah.
is like just
Mm-hmm.
people who love the sport. Like, you have players and stuff that are interviewed, but a lot of the people are like, Bob Costas
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
or what's the woman's name that wrote the book on Lincoln that, the movie Lincoln is based on.
mm.
She's
Mm-hmm.
interviewed in the movie. Um,
Well,
yeah.
that's why I love the movie Invincible. Because
Yeah.
yeah, that team at that time meant something
Sure.
to the city.
Every team
Mm,
means something to somebody at some
right,
Mm-hmm.
point.
right.
Like,
Otherwise, they wouldn't exist.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
They
that's
would
why I'm
fall
so
into yeah.
yeah, well, that's why I'm so hardcore about the Eagles this year. It because my 2024 was a pretty good year for me. I found a job I actually liked. Got a new car. I celebrate my 30th birthday by seeing Judas Priest. Um, and my Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and if they win, I mean, that'll just be the icing on the cake for me, honestly. Like plus it's just set up so perfectly. Because that conference championship game was a revenge game because Washington Commanders were like the only team that beat them this year. So I was happy that they won that. And
Mm,
then not even like 3 years later, like they're back at the Super Bowl with the Chiefs again. And if the Chiefs win, they'll be the first like 3P Super Bowl winners.
mm.
And so like I really want the Eagles to beat them.
Okay.
That yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. But my honorable mentions just real quick would be 42, the Jackie Robinson movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um Raising
Mhm.
Bull, which is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, see, I thought that was gonna make your list for some reason.
Yeah. I
I've
haven't
never
watched
seen
it.
it.
I love that movie. I just
I've
don't.
seen parts of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not like as fond of it than some of the other movies.
Mm.
Like I do love it, but it's not like a heartwarming movie by any means.
No,
No,
no.
it seems pretty
Cinematography is really
ugly.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cinematography and editing are still, still,
yeah,
still amazing. Like,
yeah. And then the other movies you talked about, Hoosiers and Sandlot are great.
Right.
yeah,
Karate Kid and Space Jams.
Space Jams.
But anyways, guys, that's our top 5 sports movies. That went way longer than I thought it was gonna be.
Hour and
Yeah.
40 minutes. Yep.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
Sorry, everyone.
We're windbags.
yeah. But anyways, guys, if you like this episode and you want to see more spooky and weird content, make sure you slap that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Spotify.
Sporty and weird content.
Sporty and weird
Mm.
content, I like that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep,
Strap on your jock straps, everyone.
yep. And make sure you leave this episode a giant thumbs up and a killer comment. And don't forget, guys, to stay weird and fly, Eagles, fly.
Go Chiefs.
Jeez. All right. Bye,
Sports.
everybody. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday.